It's a grown married man with a child and a pregnant wife. He's philandering, sleeping with other women, sleeps with one. Then she falls asleep after they sleep together, gets a marker and draws on her face. Another one swallows her wedding ring, and then she has to wait around until he passes it. This is an adult. Where does this immaturity come from? Joining me tonight with more on all this, attorney and life coach Lauren Lake. Also with us, human behavior and relationships expert Patrick Wanis. Thank you both for being here. Patrick, let me start with you. Grown man, married, has one 2-year-old child, and has another child on the way. He's grabbing wedding rings, swallowing it, waiting for it to pass, urinating on friends' carpets, hanging out naked while everyone else is watching the game. Where does this immaturity come from?
Well, what you're seeing is bizarre behavior that's really reflecting someone that's a prankster, Vinny. He's a prankster, but he also likes to manipulate the women, and he shows them how he's in control, and he tries to demean them so that he can feel more powerful about himself. If I'm swallowing your wedding ring, I'm trying to say to you, see, I've got more power than you. If I'm drawing over your face while you sleep, I'm saying, see, I've got more power over you. So he was really demeaning them, disrespecting them, and manipulating them.
Lauren Lake, it seemed like a way of life for this guy. It seems like a guy who's never grown up. Yet he's married, 2-year-old child, baby on the way. What's your impression of what this guy was doing and the way he was living his life, Lauren?
He was what the old folks would just call silly. He was a silly guy, very immature. As we just said, a prankster, just really couldn't get it together in terms of being a grown-up, a grown man, a responsible husband and father. Unfortunately, Vinny, for the prosecution, this just doesn't necessarily make him a murderer, and they need more physical evidence to connect them to that.
Patrick, well, I'm trying to understand this, Patrick. You're 32 years old. You've seen the birth of your first child. You're married. I mean, how can you be at a point in your life there where you're swallowing someone's wedding ring who you slept with and then waiting for the thing to pass through your body?
Look, Vinny,
how can you urinate on your friend's carpet?
You're looking for something deep that doesn't really exist. The guy is simply emotionally immature. We call that low emotional intelligence. It doesn't reflect some deep psychological issue. It means that he refuses to take responsibility. Yes, he's more than silly, though. He's emotionally immature. He's a prankster, and he likes to manipulate, and he likes him in a position of power.
Lauren Lake, I want you to take a listen to some testimony from Michelle Young's mother, Linda Fisher, here talking about the 3 things that were important for Jason Young at his wedding.
There were 3 things that were important for the wedding. The first was that they could not get married on a day that there was an NC State game. Right. The second one is they had to be married. They will not get married north of the Mason-Dixon line. That's what Jason said.
Michelle's idea?
No, that was Jason, all Jason. And the other was he wanted to be able to invite as many friends as he could and have as much beer, unlimited beer.
Lauren Lake, how about that list of priorities on his wedding day?
That doesn't bother me. That doesn't bother me at all. I mean, yeah, for some people it may seem unreasonable or ridiculous, but for me it just seems like a groom that has his wishes. They may be a little selfish, not necessarily what the bride would maybe want, but beer, I don't want to go on the day we're having an NC State game. I mean, okay, that doesn't bother me. And if he wants to get married in the South, so be it. It doesn't bother me, and it doesn't make him a murderer. Maybe a little bit of a control freak, as we said, but we've got to do more to establish this man as a murderer than that.
All right, well, right now we're just kind of establishing this man's character. Lauren Lake, let me go to you first. Lauren, help me understand this. Take me into the mind of the woman.
Wow.
The woman, we're sorority sisters. I'm going to sleep with your husband while you're pregnant, and I know you already have a 2-year-old child. How does that happen? And why would this woman be attracted to a guy like this whose claim to fame is urinating on his friend's carpet and unlimited beer at his wedding and, hitching a ride on a tractor on a skateboard as a grown man. Lauren, why would a woman be attracted to that? Please explain.
This is like a bad reality TV show, Vinny. I mean, with friends like that, who needs enemies? I mean, when you think about this guy, even though we're so disgusted by how immature he is and how ridiculous and silly and controlling, this guy is getting women. He's getting women.
Well, tell me why. You're a woman. I'm not.
I'm just about to tell you. These girls, and I will call them girls because they are immature as well, suffering from low self-esteem, not acting like grown women who are responsible for their own lives and also care and respect other people's lives.
And I just want to clarify one thing, Lauren, because we're showing some video right now. The blonde top left, that is his ex-fiancee. She is not a mistress, never was a mistress of Jason Young, but the other two are. Okay, I just want to make sure that's clear. Go ahead, Patrick.
There's another point here. Like attracts like. So they're all cheaters, they're all philanderers, they're all betraying each other because they all share the same values. They're not good values, they're low values, they're poor morality, but all that is a reflection that all these people have a lot in common, and that's low values.
Let's take a listen to a little bit more of Michelle Money's testimony, and the way I'm seeing it for Jason Young, more money, more problems. Take a listen.
The defendant arrived on a Saturday in Orlando.
Yes.
Did you pick him up from the airport?
Yes.
And what happened during the course of that weekend?
We just spent a lot of time talking and hanging out at the house. We ended up having an intimate relationship while he was there.
And so at that point, were you actually engaged in an affair with the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
You know when that was, Patrick? That affair? That was Jason Young's anniversary weekend. Wedding anniversary.
Look, this isn't surprising when you're talking about people that obviously have low morality, Vinny. We're trying to look for something much deeper there. These are people who have low morality. They haven't had a good upbringing. This doesn't justify what they did, but it tells us what kind of people you're dealing with. That's why these women are attracted to this guy who's also emotionally immature. So are the women. They're attracted to a guy that's a prankster. He's a real boy. He's a typical sort of rough around the edges. They're attracted to that because they don't have a lot of self-respect.
Take a look at them side by side. I mean, one couldn't be prouder to be on the stand. The other one started crying from the moment she sat down and had to give her name. Patrick Wanis, two mistresses, two completely different demeanors. One showing some remorse and shame. The other one, you know, looked like she was almost proud to be there.
Well, you said it well. One showed shame, which means she's actually starting to feel regretful for her bad actions. The other one is seeking attention. But what you're also seeing is these people mixed a lot of deadly ingredients into a cocktail. They shared their emotional vulnerabilities with each other. Michelle Money was already married. Obviously, Jason Young was. Now they're turning to each other for emotional support. That's the first big mistake that they both make. The second mistake is they're all mixing alcohol. The third mistake is they're mixing alcohol, they're sharing emotional vulnerabilities together when they're completely alone, which means it's easy for it to lead to something. These are people that have no self-control.
Lauren Lake, how about Carol Ann Sowerby, the woman? She had sex with Jason Young in his house while his 2-year-old daughter was upstairs, and she knew the wife was away, she knew the wife was pregnant.
That's low. I mean, that just says at this point that
I have no... It's more than low. It's disgusting.
Well,
it's more than low.
Well, if you let me finish my point, I was going to get to that. Because
I apologize.
At the end of the day, what that means is you have absolutely no regard for yourself, for decency, a respect for a woman's home, a child's safe place, her home, that you would do this, that child could get up in the middle of the night or whatever and come downstairs and witness this. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it shows no regard for itself, for family, for relationship, for marriage, or for commitment on either one of their levels. And I think that is going to make the jury not like Jason Young. I still think, Vinny, though, they got a long way to go painting him as a murderer. Absolutely,
absolutely. First of all, I want to say, Lauren Lake, Patrick Wanis, it's fantastic to have you on the program. Great job tonight, and want to have you back as often as you'll come on. Thanks so much.